Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, damsels and dingbats. Today we have the first of what I hope to be many episodes of my online role-playing group. We're using Roll20 and Discord, and we're playing some D&D, and I'm running for my friend Dan and his little family back home. And we've all agreed that we're gonna post this up for you guys. If you've watched the disclaimers, you know what's going on. Now, unfortunately, I have not run anybody on anything over the internet like this in a very, very long time. So it's a new computer. I was not aware when I recorded this that I had some settings in my recording software and in my Discord that were clashing with each other. So the audio quality is fairly poor. Well, that alone made it fairly poor. You top that off with the fact that my players, you know, having never really played with long distance setups before like that, they weren't set up optimally either. So they were very difficult to hear. And then on top of it all, just the icing on the cake, I vape. And one of my vapes, the one I happened to be using that night, was very obnoxiously loud, and it picked up like a headache every time I used it through my microphone. So we played for 5 hours, and the first thing I knew I was going to do is I needed to cut it up into 1 hour chunks, at least 1 hour chunks, and make it more manageable for you guys as viewers, to make it to watch it, make it easier for me to upload it, so forth and so on. So I figure, okay, I've already got it cut up into these chunks now. I will run it through my Audacity filter, my Audacity program, and clean it up a little bit. Well, I guess I should have stopped thinking right there, because man, did that turn into a process. Every single 1 hour chunk took me at minimum 4 hours to disassemble, clean up, put back together, and when everything was done and said, the reward for the effort was not that great. Like, there was very little improvement in the audio quality. As a matter of fact, there are actually a lot of parts where it was worse. So finally, I just got frustrated and said, you know what? The audio quality in the main videos, the original videos, was bad, but it wasn't so bad that it couldn't be heard. So I decided that I was just going to use the stock footage. I'm going to post the stock footage up, and we're going to move on from there. We have figured out what the problems were. We have addressed all of the issues. So hopefully the next time we get together in game and record, the audio quality will be considerably, drastically, vastly better. And hopefully we won't have any of these issues anymore. But for now, these first few episodes that I'm posting up, all of which are part of our first game session, they're going to be pretty bad. So bear that in mind. I warned you we were probably going to have technical difficulty. That's just the way it works with me. But here's the footage. The way I'm going to post it is it's going to be by game session. So these first few videos are going to be listed S1 for session 1. Not season 1, session 1. And then it will be P1, P2, P3, and so on for part. So this first video is going to be S1, P1. The next one will be S1, P2, and so forth. Once you have finished watching all of the part 1, or all of the session 1 part, you'll notice that the video clips will change to S2, P1, and so forth. That's just, I don't know why I've decided to put them up like that, but that's what I did. So just giving you guys a heads up what's going on. None of them have actual titles. Some of them cut off at weird times. I just tried to keep it around the hour benchmark. So yeah, just you know, it is what it is. So it is. And without further ado, here it is. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and clear out the chat history so that once we get started, I get easily confused. Clear current chat log. Really. Okay. So, I'm assuming everyone's good, so I'm going to go... It's been a while since I've done anything. The last time I did anything game-wise on Roll20 itself was with you guys. So, it's going to take me a hot minute to remember everything I'm doing on here, too. So just bear with me. This first session is going to be a little rough, but hopefully as we go, we should be good. Okay, so introduction. Your group, and we are going to assume that you have all been traveling as a group, or at least you are all on a friendly basis with one another's characters. You know each other, so when it comes time to form an adventuring group, you know, you're the ones you go to. You are contacted by a Miss Carolyn Huckriel to meet with her in the town of Oakhurst concerning an opportunity for employment. So you guys travel to Oakhurst and you guys meet up in Oakhurst. And this is the map of Oakhurst that the game gave. So if it's crap, it's not my fault. So I'm going to zoom out to about, what's 100% look like? Yeah, 100% is fine. So a little map of Oakhurst here. We have a blacksmith, a healer, the Old Boar Inn, a constabulary and a jail, the mayor's house at the end of the road next to the well, the Huckriel merchant family, the general store, and then a couple roads here. So this is where we're going to start. You guys have come to this town to meet up with Miss Carolyn Huckriel.
Are we introducing each other?
Yes. I will actually have you do that now. So Dan, you can go ahead and start.
I'm Mo. I was a soldier. I ain't no more. I'm a human. You can tell by my human instincts. My honor is my life. And I will kick your butt Sunday, Sunday, Sunday.
Okay. That was Luth. And I'm assuming Luth's done, so we'll go ahead and move next clockwise on the star here is Paige.
Okay, hold on. I'm explaining it to him a little bit too. So you say your name, your class, your race, and then whatever else you want to talk to, say about yourself, introduce yourself to the group. Or whatever.
So, my name is Paige Turner. I'm a rogue assassin, scout halfling. I don't really know what else to say about my character.
Alright.
I just caught the whole Paige Turner part. You get a gold star. Yeah. Tyler used to be my pun master. Now it looks like he's got some competition. I probably should not have put that out into the world. Alright. So we'll go ahead and move on to Tyler. Please introduce Billy.
Alrighty. My name is Billy Venue because I believe in you. As you can tell, I am an entertainer of sorts, you could say. Spreading joy throughout the world with my tunes on my ocarina or my bagpipes. Whichever so suits me at the moment. You can probably also tell by the golden scales that I am also a dragonborn. The way I see it, there's not really much point to life if you're not having fun with it, so why not have a little fun with it?
Okay. And Crispy.
I'm Narama Random. I believe that the goal of life is to study the betterment of one's... Hi.
Alright, so your character's name is Narama, not Crispy. Is that what I'm getting?
Narama.
Narama. Where did I get Crispy? I am so
Because that's what everyone actually calls me, the person who's playing Narama.
Okay, well then this needs to be fixed. Alright, 1 second. Cut. I will fix it. I got confused. Whoa, wait, what did that just do?
Game dynamics.
Okay, save. There. Alright. Sorry. Did I interrupt you? One more time with the name. Narama?
Narama Random.
Or Narama Random. Yes, it is. So, were you done? Were you done giving your introduction? I didn't mean to interrupt you if I did.
No, you didn't interrupt me. I have very little to say.
Oh, she's in character already. Alright, what class are you playing again?
I'm a warlock.
A warlock. Okay. And Billy's playing a bard, right? Okay. How about you, Eris?
I'm Eris Dragonmeyer. I'm a ranger and a dragonborn.
Dragonborn Ranger. That's ironic. Because earlier Tyler came out and he couldn't find his stuff for Lyric, so he wanted to make this new character, and he asked me what you were all playing. So I was trying to guess, because I couldn't remember. None of the character sheets stayed on Roll20 for some reason, so I was trying to guess what everyone played. I guessed Loth was a monk, but I mean, look at the picture. Who can blame me? I guessed Paige was playing a rogue. I guessed Narama was playing a sorcerer, so I wasn't too far off. I could not for the life of me by the picture figure out what Eris was. And I was like, well, it's probably safe to assume she's not a ranger. So, shows what I know. Alright, so we've got everyone introduced. Your characters, like I said, you all know each other. You're all comfortable traveling with each other. You don't necessarily know everything about the person next to you, such is the way of the traveling adventurer, but you've been through some stuff together, so you all know when push comes to shove, you can count on your teammates to do their jobs. So you guys have traveled to Oakhurst? I can't even remember the name of the stupid town we're in. This is going to be a great game session. Okay, so you've come to the town of Oakhurst, and after washing the dust of the trail and the road off of you and resting for a few moments, you meet up with Miss Carolyn Huckriel. It seems that another party of adventurers, locally based, delved into a sunken ruin called the Sunless Citadel about a month ago. They were never seen again. Two human members of that ill-fated adventuring party were brother and sister. Taugen Huckriel was a fighter, and Charlewin Huckriel was a wizard. They were both part of an important merchant family based here in the town of Oakhurst. Carolyn Huckriel, the matriarch of the family, offers you salvage rights if you can find and return with the two lost members of her family, or at least return the golden signet rings they used to wear. She also offers a reward of 125 gold pieces per ring per character. So there's 5 of you, so that's math.
and she will reward the sum of that math to you if you can bring back, at least bring back the rings, but she would prefer that you bring her son and her daughter back alive and in good shape, if possible. Sound body, sound mind, that whole thing. If you can bring them back alive, she actually offers you double. So, let me really quick 150 times 5 times 2. So, if you're only able to bring back the rings, she is going to pay you 1,500 gold total to the whole group. 1,500 gold. If you can come back with her missing children, the missing adventurers, she will pay you double at 3,000 gold. And you guys are not the most experienced adventurers. You've only been doing this for a brief amount of time. You have not really had the time to build a name for yourselves or gain a reputation. So being offered this much gold for a quest, this is a big quest, so you should feel...
Doesn't that also show her desperation?
Well, yes, a mother missing her children, who can blame her? But the fact is that anywhere between 1,500 gold and 3,000 gold would make any of you drool. So it's definitely tempting. Whether you take the quest or not is up to you. But that is the current situation.
How about we, think of this over, beer?
She is, she does not drink, but she is more than willing to let you take some time. And, excuse me a second while I catch my breath. Stupid coronavirus. No, I'm kidding. Wow. Anyway, yeah, she's more than willing to let you take some time to discuss it amongst yourself. She would suggest the Old Boar Inn to be the best place in town for a good drink. And once you have decided amongst yourselves whether you would like to take the quest or not, please let her know. She is kind of eager that the task be taken on as soon as possible, of course, because her children are involved. But she doesn't want to be rude and rush you either.
Well, I'm taking Dan's character up on top.
So you guys can, if you would like, travel to the Old Boar Inn. Now, since this is your, most of you, since this is your first game session, something that you can do while you're out and about exploring town, you can seek, you can question people, NPCs, non-player characters. You can talk to them about any number of things to try and see if there are any rumors about what's going on.
For one, I'm skeptical. I would like to discuss the supposed children with easy money to what calamity we could face with someone who knows, maybe a general sorcerer. Beer.
I'm sorry. I heard most of that. I got the idea of what you were saying, and I was focused so intently on trying to get as much of it as I could that Dan's beer came across a lot louder and clearer than it probably was meant to. So
I want to see if there's any rumors or something, that's information that people can offer us to see what sort of calamity. See what sort of calamities. Shut up!
it sounds like the calamity has already begun.
I'm not ready to burst you into flames. Good lord. Worth a trip because it seems too easy.
I wish I had video. I really do.
No, you don't. There might be blood later.
Oh, that's why. That's why.
Well, you missed your cue. Fireball by Pitbull just played on my playlist.
blood has good ratings on YouTube. Alright, so you guys can actually let me real quick. I wasn't going to do this because I didn't think it would be necessary, but I think given the circumstances it might be fun. I'm gonna go ahead and slap. I'm gonna slap you guys' minis on the board here and get rid of this one. So Luth is going to the inn to get beer. I'm not even gonna ask. So I'm gonna put, yeah, there we go. Billy's in there. Billy, are you singing, trying to make some money?
Yes.
Okay. So I will get to you in a minute.
To drinking.
The rest of you can go ahead and decide where you want to go. If I need to scroll out on my map a little bit. Do you know how to do that, Dan? Do you need to?
Know how to do what?
Do you have? How big is the map on your Roll20?
As big as it is.
Yeah, I guess that was a dumb question. Can you see the whole map on your Roll20?
Yes, we can. We can see all the icons.
Okay. So Eris, Norama, I'm not ever going to pronounce that right. And Paige, no Rama.
No Rama.
Nah Rama.
Rama.
Yeah, I'll grab potatoes.
Can I just nickname you Mama?
No.
All right.
I want to hear Muppet's version of Bohemian Rhapsody again.
All right. So you guys can put your minis, your tokens wherever you would like to go. And then once we have everyone wherever, we can go ahead and carry on.
I want to steal from you, Brother Bob.
All right. Looks like the inn/tavern is going to be the popular location at the moment.
I'm going to go check out if I can find something. I'm going to go to the merchant and see if he can tell me something.
Okay. So the general store that's the okay, yeah, that is the merchant family house. She's actually the individual.
My bad, I meant the general store.
Oh, okay. Eris, you're just gonna hang out there?
She's going to the pub.
Okay. Alright, so we will take care of the general store first, just because there are less of you there. You walk into the general store. It is such a general store, in fact, that it doesn't even have a sign out front giving it a name.
How charming.
Yes, you walk in, and it is a simple one-room affair. The walls are lined with various instruments. Most of it seems to be farming or lumber equipment, you know, axes and saws. There is a small amount of food and traveling gear and whatnot. Couple tables set up with sparse equipment. You can tell this is a small town, so there isn't a lot of there's nothing really special in the general store. It seems like most of the locals get what they need through the Hukreel family merchant establishment. When you walk in, there is a human male, probably in his mid-30s. He's trying to lift a yoke, like an ox yoke, up onto the wall. So he doesn't notice you come in immediately, which is fine because it takes your eyes a minute to adjust to the dim interior lighting anyway. But he struggles for a moment or two, but when he finally gets the yoke up on the wall, he studies it for a moment, and then he turns and he actually jumps when he sees you because you startled him. Oh, sorry, I didn't see you there, lass. How can I help you today?
Salutations. What can you tell me? Appear to be missing.
Sorry, you cut out there. I caught salutations. What can you tell me?
About these children that appear to be missing.
Missing children? Why, this is the first I've heard of it. There are children missing?
Well, how comforting. What can you tell me of the merchant household then?
Oh, those children. Well, I haven't heard of them referred to as children by anyone but their mother. I'm sorry, I misunderstood. The Krill family. Well, they've been the heart of this small town for as long as I've been here. I did hear the unfortunate news. Those two really should not have been off adventuring. I don't know what got into them, but I mean, anyway, you talked to him for.
How old are these supposed children if you do not refer to them as such?
Let me open this up so I can remember what their names are. Talgan, the brother, the older of the two, is in his late 20s. And Sharwin, the wizard, his sister, was not too far behind him. She was probably about 23. So, in this above board, in this day and age, those are full-grown adults.
If I may inquire, what was their adventure about?
Well, I don't know a lot of the specifics beyond what I've heard in the rumor mill. It seems that they went to investigate the old ruins. Hold on a second. Which direction is this? There's an old ruin called the Sunless Citadel, a couple days south of town, and people have been going there for years to try and find lost treasures and make a name for themselves. And most of the time, people.
Trouble. What can you tell me of anything that would help you seeking such said treasure?
Well, I mean, I'm not an adventurer myself. Again, I can only tell you what I've heard. I do know that, I mean, as I've said, Talgan, or, Talgan was a fighter. His sister was a wizard. And they were traveling at the time with a paladin of Palor named Sir Bradford. And I think there was a ranger too. What was... Caracas, I think it was. Yes, Sir Bradford and Caracas. They were strangers to town. And they actually were the ones looking for the Sunless Citadel. And when Talgan and Sharwin heard of this, they were very eager to join the group.
Not to be rude and interrupt, but I just want to know, do you know of any such monsters that we could be facing in going for the treasure?
Oh, I couldn't tell you. I know the area is renowned for, having goblins and kobolds. Those exist in the area, and the nasty little creatures do like to find deep, dark holes to live in, and they have a habit of moving into old ruins. So it wouldn't surprise me in the least if you ran into some of those. But beyond that, who knows what lives down in that dark place.
Well, thank you. This has been an interesting interaction. The yoke that you've hung looks quite well. Excuse me, I have to go join my party at the inn. Which direction is that? Could you point me, please?
Oh, that's just right across the street there, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Interesting to talk to.
He kind of gets a surprised look on his face, like nobody has ever said that as long as he's lived. But he just nods at you as you make your way back out. Okay, across the street, I need characters. I need Billy. Billy needs to make a charisma check. to see how well he is entertaining the 5 or 6 people that are in this inn in the middle of the day. Yeah. Okay. You've done better. People who are listening seem to enjoy it well enough, but they clearly believe it's a free concert. So you don't make anything. To the rest of the group, he just sounds like he's practicing. You didn't even realize he was attempting to actually play. You've probably heard him play in the past, and he is fairly capable, but this is not his brightest moment. The rest of you, Dan, go ahead and take off, say, 5 copper from whatever you happen to have. For 5 copper pieces from whatever you have in your inventory to pay for your brew.
10 gold.
10 gold, okay. Well, you are now the most famous person in the tavern. You buy them out. You'll be drinking for a while. You may not end up getting drunk. It's not a very...
No, I'm not spending 10 gold. I'm saying I have 10 gold.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's definitely some importance in that misunderstanding. So, you guys rest and relax and talk around. Like I said, there aren't a lot of people other than yourselves in the tavern at the moment, simply because it is midday. Most of the citizenry of town are probably out working in the fields or doing their jobs, but there are a couple of people to talk to in town. And you do pick up some information. Instead of role-playing through every single event, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you what you learn. That way you can get something done tonight other than just listening to me go, So, the first thing you learn is that there are 2 roads in town. One of them is referred to as the Old Road.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe just try to steal from people.
Okay. Okay, that never goes well, but who am I to say no? What are you trying to steal? Just like pocket change and the like, or?
Pocket change.
Okay. So what I will have you do, I need to refer to a character sheet here real quick, because even though this is something that happens a lot in most role-playing games, I don't usually have a lot of thieves in my groups. Rogues, excuse me, rogues. So...
Like in Egypt?
So I need to view, what do we got here? Slay of Hand. Sounds like it would be proper. So what you're going to do, pick a target and sneak up on them. And then I need you to make a Slay of Hand check, which means you're going to roll a 20-sided dice. And then on your character sheet, where it says Slay of Hand, do you have a little check mark in the box?
See.
Okay. That means you are proficient with that skill. So up above, you see it says Proficiency Bonus. All the way up at the top there, it should say 2. Now, how many points... Actually, is this a point? Okay, there should be a number next to Slay of Hand as well.
Simple.
Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to roll the d20. You're going to add that number, which should be your dex bonus. Basically the number, like the plus number next to your dexterity. You're going to add the d20. You're going to add your dex bonus, and you're going to add your proficiency bonus. You're going to add it all together, and then tell me what your end result is. poop. Okay. Well, the individual that you pickpocket from is not drunk, is very aware of his surroundings, but is completely oblivious to you. So let me see here what he had on him. Yeah, why not? Alright, you managed to recover from him a pouch which contains an assortment of coins in it, equaling about 4 gold. And he also has a fairly nice but simple dagger on his belt, which you snatch as well, and that's worth about 1 gold. And he doesn't even notice you.
I'm sorry. I must interrupt here and ask you to say that again because we were like prepared and now we're ready.
Okay. You rescue a gold pouch full of an assortment of coins that total up to about 4 gold. And he also has a plain dagger. Well, it's a basic dagger. There's nothing special about it, but it has some engraving on it. It's a nice dagger that's worth about 1 gold. So in total, you recover about 5 gold worth of stuff off of this guy. And nobody is any the wiser.
Is it Thursday?
Cool.
Okay. So as you're doing that, up at the bar, Luth is learning that leading out of town there are 2 roads. The new road, which you came in on, was built about a decade ago, and it's the most commonly used road by travelers. Leading out of the south of the town is what's called the old road, and this was the road that was commonly used back when Oakhurst was just a baby and brand new little town. It's not used quite as much anymore. There are some farms along the road, but the further away from Oakhurst you get, the more desolate and abandoned the countryside becomes. So here you can see an overland map of what's going on with that. Now the old road back in the day ran right past, well, it ran past where the Sunless Citadel was. But it fell into disuse because of goblins. There was a lot of goblin banditry in the area, so people stopped using the roads. No one is sure what the Sunless Citadel once was. That's the name of the ruins that you've been looking into. There are old legends, however, that hint that it once served as a retreat for an ancient dragon cult. You also learned that the old road skirts along what is called the Ashen Plain. The Ashen Plain is a lifeless place. For those of you who would like to, you may make... What would this be? Let me check the character sheet again. You can choose between history or insight. You can make a roll, a history roll or an insight roll, your choice, to see if you've heard anything about... Come on, work with me here. See if you've heard anything about this Ashen Plain place. Well, there you go. So you guys can both make history checks. Yep, Billy Venue knows what's up. Bardic knowledge.
When I was playing in the bar.
You're like Bo Daddy Bob. You're not a musician. You just think you are.
I'm starting to be like the old traditional bards that just knew a lot of shit and wasn't really good at much of anything else.
Lewis, on the other hand, doesn't care about anything but the beer.
I
I'm not even sure Luth was paying attention with that roll. He's like, hey, what do you know about what's going on? And the guy starts talking. He's like, okay, yummy. Alright, let's see, at this point, I'm gonna screw this up again. Narama is still at the general store. You'll be heading over here in a minute. I need to give Eris and Paige a chance here to. You can either be talking to somebody else and maybe pick up another rumor, or you can be involved in the current conversation with Luth, and you can make a roll on what's going on to see if you know anything about this Ashen Plain or whatever it's called.
I'll talk to another NPC.
Okay.
I guess I'll do the same thing.
Okay, so real quick, Billy, you know that the Ashen Plain, the desolation in the Ashen Plain is actually attributed to the ancient rampage of a dragon called a Shardalon. Apparently this dragon that ruled the area way back in history actually went on a rampage in that area, and the land has been so affected by it that now, generations later, it is still just a desolate wasteland. So the name Ashen Plain does ring a bell with you. Okay, Eris, you're sitting at a table with a farmer, and he's an elderly gentleman, probably in his mid-70s, and he's there with his older son, who's probably in his late 20s, early 30s, and you learn from them that cattle herders don't graze their stock too far afield these days. It seems they're frightened by stories of new monsters that maraud by night. No one has seen these creatures, nor do they leave a discernible trail. However, cattle and people who have been caught out alone have been found dead the next day, pierced by dozens of needle-like claws. And Paige, you learn that sometimes the goblins in the area offer, they come to town, you know, they try to trade in town just like normal people. Not all of the goblins are uncivilized and evil, just most of them. There's one particular tribe that comes to town once a year, towards winter solstice, and they offer an apple to the mayor of the town. And this is a big deal in itself because, like I said, goblins aren't known for being cooperative with the civilized races. But the other thing that stands out is that the apple that they offer as a peace treaty is a corpse white apple, which is utterly poisonous, even to the mere touch of the skin. And apparently the goblins think that this is a sign of respect or, you know, whatnot. They don't understand that offering humans clearly poisonous presents is considered evil and malicious. So the mayor of the town is intelligent enough to realize that the goblins don't mean any direct insult or harm, so they've let it go. But the interesting thing about this is that these corpse white apples, nobody's ever seen these before. Only the goblins seem to have access to them. There are no samples of these apples anywhere near Oakhurst. Nobody's ever heard of them before. So these goblins are getting these once a year. They have one of these apples, and nobody knows where they're coming from. So that's a bit of a mystery that's got people kind of wondering what's going on.
What do we do if we run into them?
Well, definitely don't touch them.
I feel like someone's trying to be the fairest in the land.
if you find the source of these apples, the mayor might be willing to pay you a little bit extra of a finder's fee, just because people are curious where these things are coming from. Travelers that have come through town have never seen them before or heard of them. They seem to be fairly unique to the region, and it seems like the goblins are the only ones that know where it grows. So if you find out where it grows and you can kind of fill the mayor in, he might be willing to kind of give you a finder's fee for that, just as a novelty curiosity type thing. The last piece of information you pick up, Lou, if you actually happen to be tuned in at the moment, because you're probably asking the bartender for another round, he's kind of caught on that your group is asking questions and trying to find information. So he just volunteers to you that he remembers, actually, the last time anyone aside from Talgan and Sharwin themselves, he remembers when they asked questions about the Sunless Citadel. But that was like 13 years ago. A grim man named Balak stopped by, and he had a very large pet tree frog. Now this information isn't necessarily helpful in any direct way. It seems like the bartender is more interested in talking about this massive freaking frog.
Tree frog, you say?
Yes, but the only useful bit that you got out of there is that 13 years ago there was a man come through that was asking the same kind of questions you are. Now, obviously, the Hukril family adventurers, as they are, weren't missing 13 years ago. So there has been a running interest in the sunken citadel for a while, or this sunless citadel rather. It is sunken, but that's not what it's called. So, Norma, you walk in, and you see that your party members are kind of scattered around the inn. You can see that each of them are kind of talking to people on their own, and you can tell that Billy's just about ready to give up on his attempt to earn some money. And you guys can, at this point, get together and kind of share the information that you've learned and carry on as you will.
Oh, that singing is breaking my ears!
Intelligence doesn't run very deep in that one, does it?
Wow, I think it's this vape. Sorry, above board. Every time I've got two vapes here. I have an older one, which is much larger, and then I have this new baby one that I lose every time I pick it up because it's so small. But every time I smoke on this bigger one, I get short of breath. I think the freaking coil is shot, so I think I'm gonna stop puffing on that one tonight.
That frog, you say?
Yes.
The owner's name, John Jacob.
No, John Jacob's part of the Jingleheimer Smith clan. You're on the wrong side of the map for that one. But yes, the biggest frog I've ever seen.
Is the frog named Jeremiah?
How would I know?
Well, at least then we can narrow down whether or not it was a bullfrog.
No, I've already stated it's a tree frog. It was a pet tree frog.
Not a tree bullfrog?
What does this information have to do
Drink all my wine.
with
I don't know. I just thought it was handy to, you guys are looking for information about the old Citadel. I thought maybe I'd throw out the point that the last time anybody came in here asking me about it was 13 years ago. I just happen to remember he had a big old tree frog on his shoulder. Darndest thing I ever saw. Probably the only reason I remember it at all.
Was he a good friend?
No, he was a stranger from out of town. Came into town actually asking around about the Sunless Citadel. I remember he said his name was Garen. Dressed kind of weird, all kinds of furs and stuff like that. He looked kind of like, what do they call them? The druid folk. He might have been a druid folk, or a ranger, or, one of the nature-y type of people. You're kicked out of my bar.
Did anyone learn anything from these dullards at all?
Yeah. Yes, there was a frog, and he wasn't a friend of ours, and he didn't drink wine.
That pertains to the quest at hand.
Oh, yeah. It goes out of town. It goes by the Ashen Plains Sunless. Goblin and an apple and it drinks off.
Whoa. What about goblins and apples?
There's this broad, you see. She pissed off his queen, so she gave him an apple, and the goblin gave it to her. Then there's a road out of town.
Okay, so goblins have apples. Does anyone else have any pertinent information?
The apples are white and are poisonous, so if you touch them, it can burn off your skin. Don't touch them.
Well, where do we acquire such things?
No one knows.
Don't know.
Well, is there someone that we can speak to that is intelligible enough to provide such information?
The frog! We must find the frog! The frog is fun!
Wait, he's on a frog and he's not listening.
Get off the subject of the frog.
Biggest frog I ever saw.
All of the people in this town. How much intoxication have you had while I was gone?
All of it. 10 gold worth.
Should we speak to the mayor?
The goblins there to offer him the apple stuff.
And no one...
Odd.
I went for
Layer 2.
All I gotta say is that I definitely hope, no, I pray that Luth is not your group leader.
Don't look at me, I'm the boss.
I am praying that much as well.
Don't look at me. I'm just a dude.
It's hard to not look at you.
Can I steal from people yet?
You're calling yourself a dude, now I picture your character looking like Jeff Bridges.
Who peed on my rug?
Does everyone feel that we have enough information? To me, what it sounds like, from what I learned from the general store person,
I want to let the frog.
you're not licking the frog. Can you like have the attention span of a gnat? Can you pay attention, please? Do you want this money or not?
Money?
Yes, money!
Where?
Anyhow, the other intelligible party, please.
I like money.
Go chase the frog.
Okay. Here, froggy. Here, froggy.
Does anyone else find it odd that all of a sudden the mayor's taking apples from goblins, who everyone thinks that these young adventurers went off to seek some sort of treasure from, and they think possibly they've fallen into the hands of goblins and such. So here we have people who are inexperienced, almost as deft as Luke, and they, all of a sudden, the city is getting apples from goblins that no one has ever seen. And I, for one, think that the money is set aside. I believe that there's some sort of knowledge or intelligence that we should be seeking out from somewhere. I'm going to burn him.
As the group slowly dissolves and it hasn't even left town yet.
Sounds like he's starting to make you loot yourself.
Oh, good game, folks. Good game.
That wasn't very random.
Hey, so I can't find the frog. Let's go talk to that broad again. Get our money.
We have to find the which that disturbs me. She inquired about children.
Shouldn't we go tell her we're gonna...
Well, yeah, she inquired.
I mean, granted, they are her children.
Yes.
I was under the impression that they were of young youthfulness, and they are.
She was old.
They will always be my babies.
Considering she's the mother, I would hope.
Yes, but I was under the impression that they were much younger. They just sound more full of sorrows and stuff. But I for one believe that this quest will be interesting nonetheless. if any of us die, let's just pray and lose first.
Yes.
I get the sneaking suspicion it's probably
That singing voice.
All right. So, is there anything you would like to? Now, I am a big fan of. If it's on your character sheet, you can use it. If it's not on your character sheet, you can't. But I cannot see your character sheets. So we're going to use the honor system here. No 10-foot ladders, Tyler. No dumpsters. No dumpsters, Dan.
just an ocarina and some bagpipes.
So would you like to try and procure any equipment beyond what you already have before you leave?
Besides, you have access to my character sheet.
Yeah, but I'm too lazy to look at it. That's a big thing there. Now, we're not going to worry about it too much during this adventure because you're all learning the system and getting used to the concept of role-playing itself, so I'm not going to be too big of a butthead on the finer rules. In the future, it would be a good idea to make sure that you have necessities on you like food and water, stuff like that, because in some adventures when you travel across the land for any amount of time, if you don't know how to hunt or procure these things from the wild yourself, starving to death can actually be a real pain in the butt. Now, come on, screen. Mentioning that, the Sunless Citadel itself is
did she agree to pay us and we went up there and said,
no, you will receive payment upon completion of the quest. Either you return with the 2 rings and she pays you, or you return with her son and her daughter alive and you get paid considerably more. Either way, she will pay you. The main reason she wants the rings, you guess, would be just to prove that you actually undertook the quest and didn't just go camp out in the woods for a few days and come back and say you did it.
Well, and I'm sure that's much more comforting than their heads.
Well, that's
Yeah, that's a good point.
So you do gather that the Sunless Citadel, if you follow the old road south, it winds through.
catch up, guys. I'm gonna go tell her we're leaving.
It winds through overgrown rocky downs, near stands of old-growth oak, and I guess you've been told that there are some farmsteads out there somewhere. Overall, though, if you're on foot, it's gonna take you probably. Let's see. You all have speed of 30, right?
I believe so.
Because you're all playing.
Except for Paige, she only has a speed of 25, and I'm not carrying her.
Okay. And you're all on foot at the moment.
But if we had a cart, I'm proficient.
Okay. So, we will say it takes a little over half a day. If you were to walk there, you should be able to get there in a little over half a day. If you stay on the road.
Have to be alive.
They don't, I mean, she hopes they're alive, but if they're not alive, just bring back the rings. Just to prove that you found them, and she doesn't expect you to bring, I mean, they've been gone for a few weeks now, a couple of weeks. So if they are dead, they're probably not in very good condition. And she doesn't even want to think about, if they are dead, then it's probably at the hand of some evil, icky, probably ate them anyway type deal. So Yeah, if you find...
We're not going to goblin poop with a good drink, are we?
Well, she doesn't know. Probably, I guess we'll have to find out. I mean, she's paying you more than enough to dig through a little bit of dried poop, if that's the situation. If you do find them and they are dead, but they're like in okay condition, if you would do the honorable thing and give them a decent burial, she would appreciate it, but she doesn't expect you to pack their desiccated bodies all the way back to town.
Yeah, we do seem to have a pessimistic view of this, certainly.
Oh, hold on. Winchester, it's okay. Wake up, buddy. You're dreaming. Good boy. Resume having a bad dream. Oh.
The general manager, or whatever the hell he was, he did say that they had, one was a wizard and one was what? A warrior.
Yeah.
So there is a possibility that they have just stumbled across something possibly captured. And if the goblins are bringing tribute to this town, it doesn't make sense that they would kill these people who are from the town.
Yes, the brother was the warrior. The sister was the wizard. And they actually went in company of a ranger and a paladin that were strangers to town. These two came into town, started asking questions about the Sunless Citadel, and the brother and sister decided, hey, here's our chance to go adventuring with people that know what they're doing. So the four of them took off, and that's the last time they were seen. Now, as to the...
And as we know, that never ends well. I'm more worried about the people that they took off with than I am the goblins, considering the goblins give tribute to the
Yes. Now, clarification on the goblins. Most of the goblins in the area are your traditional, nasty, backstabbing, evil little buggers. It's just one clan, one small clan that's been trying to make nice with Oakhurst and trying to offer up these apples. So whether that clan happens to be from the Citadel or, somewhere else in the neighboring area, you don't know. But it is an interesting piece of something going on that you've never heard of before, so.
It's intriguing to say the least.
Yes.
So, what's going on?
If you guys are happy with the equipment you have, it's still reasonably early in the day. You can either head out and you will be able to make it to the location of the ruins, about midday, or you can just hang out and head out early. You can go anytime you want. Like I said, it's gonna take about a little over half a day to walk the old road to the Citadel before you get to the Citadel. Yeah, along the old road.
Don't you dare. I, for one, am going to need some water and possible.
Okay, that's easy enough to get a hold of. Go ahead and if you guys are going to get anything from town, go ahead and type it into chat. Make up a list and type it into chat. And I'll figure out what you're putting out on it. And we can make sure that if for some reason it comes up later, we'll have it in the chat here so we can remember, yeah, we actually did buy that. And I need to go step away from the computer for a minute. I'll be right back. So while you guys do that, I'm going to go. I'll be back.